Anyways. This is not gonna be entertaining nor like funny and shit. D.A. Levy from East Cleveland, not even from Cleveland, from East fucking Cleveland. You know, the suburbs of Cleveland, like a moderate overlooked city in America, whose main themes were riots, suburbs, and Eastern spirituality. So I was like somewhat drawn to him and all that good shit. Described by some guy named Doug Blazak as distilled quintessence of rectoplasm, of shitomania, of devoid drama. Here I get a perfect view of the sun, the children, the bomb, and the people who have cultivated the bomb, whatever the fuck that means. This is a mashup of two long poems of his called Suburban Monastery Death Poem and Rectal Eye Visions. It starts like this. A small funeral. The only difference between matadors and poets is that one flirts with death and the other insanity, Rick Davis said. They've almost all lied to you, including me, I suppose. The poet gambles with insanity. That's ridiculous. We are all insane. It is up to you to wake up the poets. Lost in their eerie past, the poet just eats and sleeps and pisses and farts and shits and writes poems. Is that insanity? That's a Zen master on phenobarbital. It's the businessman, the salesman who gambles with insanity, the doctor playing with medicine, the printer, the bomb maker, and the man who makes donuts and bagels from 9 to 5, awake at 6 a.m., driving a truck across the city to put in day after day in the same meaningless dance routine, just like my grandpa did, without even time to ask why. Poets lost in the luxury of being, able to question being, able to beat their head against the wall and say, well, it's my job. And they already know they don't want the answers. But that rapid transit matador being gored each day with invisible horns internally, and business transaction that didn't come, and the CTS cowboy sitting silently trying to get a job, any job, knowing he'll die of TB at 65, of cancer, and unable to find a shred of meaning in the whole game. The sweet insanity of being. Able to put away each hopelessly identical day while the matador gets a rose from a fat little greasy teeny bopper in the crowd. He gives her the bull's ears later in bed, and a horny poet with poor vision cleans the picture up for you to help you dream. But now you have television and you dream too much. It keeps going. That was the middle of the poem. The garbage man in the morning knows his own reality. Garbage men never get shot during riots. Perhaps they are the real holy men with an aura of protection. The reality, the shit in your bedroom wastebasket. You have to be a Zen master to be a garbage man. And poets lie when they manage to find some object of beauty in the garbage heap. Garbage is garbage. Poetry is an emotional garbage, leftovers. And beautiful things are just dreams. But now you have television to help you dream. The soulless men, bullfighters of insignificant stockrooms, mindless phantoms who have never possessed a spirit to gamble with. Men with high school television dreams who cross themselves in ritual deaths, who whisper Jesus before dueling with their competitors each day, playing war games, becoming policemen, gambling with insanity. They drive their autos, laugh at hippies, drink on Fridays, go bowling, shit on God each day, and they die and they die and they die alone, wrapped in flags, proud of their insanity. And the academic poets write their cleaned up dreams for you, pretend it's all beautiful sitting in a bar, the alcoholic confessional. And every day I sit here trying to become one of you after another, trying on one of these high school dreams for size. It doesn't work. You don't fit me. As a poet, I tried to learn how to remain human despite technology, and there's no one to learn from. I'm still too young to be quiet and contemplative. I don't want to become a golden ager cowering before the tube in religious awe, businessmen on amphetamine ego trips telling me about the latest coup. I visit churches and temples and ask questions, and am handed some meaningless book or pamphlet. It seems as if there is no one to answer my questions but me, a hideous responsibility with worse implications. My peer group, goodbye television, I'm going back inside my head. My wife and I take an evening walk around the block. Are we that old? There is something beautiful about her. Some dream thing in the cloudless sky. I know my dreams are unreal, but they are my dreams. Sometimes on hot summer nights, we hate each other, and it is beautiful. August 1968, East Cleveland, Ohio. Note, peace and awareness are like two small birds trying to leave the planet because they're tired of dying. I'm not advocating anything. So that was a part of a poem he wrote. Thank you. I'm not like trying to go Joe, but there's more to this, so like stay tuned and such. This is from a pleasant title called Cleveland Rectal Eye Visions from D.A. Levy. Delivered on time to persons with city and state line bearing only the words Death City, I suppose there is present in the city a speed carrying living cartoons towards death and an anxiety that pushed one over the edge of the ocean sooner than necessary. I have seen people falling under New York's strange wheels of time, but there are worse places. There is America, home of the void. 2,500 miles of apathy and an uneasy feeling to think of justice, peace, and love, and then find oneself lost in a city of war monuments. In the morning, the sun rises in the east, and the trumpets blare as the wheelbarrows of dollars are rolled down Euclid Avenue. The children dressed in rags bow in reverence, and the children dressed in the bright lights of dreams shout hosannas to the golden images. The sun rises in the east, raw as a rain of dry leaves over the dust of Allah. Jehovah has tossed the karmic dice. Jesus and Malaropa and Buddha play cards in a room lost in the solar bark. The rainbowed children are one body in their church of open sky, hemmed with banks and dime stores, and the new image of God is hailed. Om, oh, children of death, Sig Heil, Uber allies. The wind in the trees of the forest city, the coins freshly minted in solemn temple, and the resurrection is eternal. Oh, God is gold and green like the leaves and the trees, and the silver stars twinkle on the domes of 8 a.m. time vaults. I'm looking for a comet on a shelf of quarters. You, infinitely portable God, a quiet God, heard deep inside some pocket, a soft mantra of money that has taken over the mass mind. You, lost in dreams of stallions and television violence, you're dying in your suburban homes. You're dying. The 1120 News is a lie. Huntley and Brinkley are a lie. Fox News is a lie. The Weather Report is a cartoon. You are the late movie. Blood, guts, death, murder, law, crash, war. The angel of death is not news. You failed in your toilet training, you dreamers without identities. You are not Jean Harlow. James Dean's death is not yours. Gary Cooper's cool is not yours. Liz Taylor's dream twat is not yours. Bridget Bardot is not Rimbaud. You are sitting there sucking it up. The Friday night horror movie is really a happening in Vietnam. The prisons of Spain are packed like a tin of sardines. You are paying for them. You are paying for them. You are paying with your hemorrhoids and wet dreams, shooting up with channel 358, and it is killing you faster than shooting methadone crystals on the beaches of Lake Erie. In between the stench of fish, young trains of skinny legs are coupling. Maggot-infested fish, soft breast, a rat carries a piece of puke home. Hand under skirt, Thunderbird cockman, and they're blowing Lady Jane on the western front. Driftwood, the listening in the void, Om Mani Padme Home, broken glass, beer, courage, fires and shouts from Sandusky to Erie. This fast, dry, rocks off lay is not tantra. Fuck is not the ultimate expression of love. The sunrise in the east and the weekends are washed away. No one wears a white t-shirt. If they understand the tragedy of Lockweird, smells like abortions on bayonets. Would you believe it? Bulletin, the white virgin is dead. Electric chair on television. There's a lot of chicks bawling with sand in the cracks of their asses. Dry docks. I burn incense. We share pieces of light, and I remember the skeleton of a ship buried in the sand and a photograph of a nude model, 1920, carefully placed under an empty Gallo wine bottle. So, yeah, baby! And thank you. And then there's just like one more short one, and then I'll be out of your hair and such. Only 10 blocks away, buildings burned, perhaps burning now. The August night broken by sniper fire. A policeman bleeding in the streets. A sniper surrenders, perhaps out of ammunition. Gun jammed. Someone said he was framed in a doorway like a picture, his hands in the air when they shot him. Only 10 blocks away from my quiet apartment with its green ceramic Buddhas and skin magazines waiting to be cut up for collages. Only 10 blocks away from my total helplessness, from my boredom enforced by the state. They are looting stores trying to get television so they can watch the riots on the 11 p.m. news. The National Guard jeeps patrol the streets again, the army green trucks with the giant white star on the side moving in the summer lightning. I could tell you partly why it happened, but you wouldn't believe me. Like in Milwaukee, during a reading, just after I said, "This is a paranoid poem written when I was experimenting with paranoid states of consciousness, but I'm not there anymore," and the young girl sat writing, shows paranoid symptoms. Probably for her psychology class, not hearing me at all. I could tell you about the hopeless despair ingrained in ghetto walls and police brutality or police stupidity or police reality as more than just words to define situations by students looking for a cause. The situations exist and continue quietly in the dark while the protest goes on in daylight, both unheard. Really? If you have to know, the police try to protect the banks and everything else is secondary. During the riots, I watched the news and didn't pick sides for a change. I just sat wondering about all the living room revolutionaries safe in the suburbs who cheered every time someone was shot or a building went up in smoke. 10 blocks away, it was real. Thousands of tourists arrived.